there are massive differences in terms of the ability of the stove to not only actually heat the room that you're in, but just in terms of providing heat for the whole house. And that this is quite a sizable property. It's a property that's, unfortunately, it's not very well insulated at all. It's a Victorian farmhouse, and it's a real challenge in terms of actually getting heat into different places. I'm so impressed in terms of what it is able to do, particularly in terms of actually heating and keeping the temperature that you've actually got of the house to a level that is really very pleasant. I looked at a whole range of different sources. I looked at air source heat pumps, I looked at ground source heat pumps, I looked at biomass. I've looked at everything, and each one seemed to actually have its own challenges. For example, when I was talking about biomass, I couldn't believe the actual size of the plant room that would have actually been needed to accommodate it. But none of them could really work. And I think this is one of the things that I found keys, is trying to make sure that you do something that's right for your house. But having the Ecco Stove was so different because you get to know how the stove works and you can use it, particularly in a situation where, in a rural environment where I've only got access to either oil or LPG with no mains gas, but you can make it work for you. I'll come back downstairs, I'm off early to work, but there's a very pleasant heat that there is downstairs that's still within the room, and I'm having my breakfast in the glow of the heat that was there the night before. It's a very pleasant experience. There is no comparison in terms of the actual quality of the product. This is just in a different league to what you would actually have. And the other one that I actually had before, it was from a very well-known manufacturer, but it was a good product. But this is doing something totally different. I can see all the benefits of actually having a masonry stove, retaining the heat, particularly in this model. It's the 678, and it's able to retain the heat for up to around 12 hours. I'm very conscious in terms of actually having to use the two systems side by side. And what the Ecco Stove is particularly good at is in terms of maintaining and enhancing on that heat once you've actually got the temperature up. The beauty of actually having two systems working together is amazing, because you're in a situation where I am away a lot, but I can be in a situation where I can heat up the house instantly with the oil, but then let the 678 do the job in terms of not only keeping the temperature up, but raising the temperature and that lovely heat that you'll actually have for a number of days after that. If you're sat by, let's say, an electric fire, you'll actually get that sort of face that's so much, quite oppressive really. It's the complete opposite of that. It's like a gentle heat that sort of works over you and the environment that you're in. I've been in a situation where other people like myself, particularly of my generation, are thinking we've got to do our part and to be greener, and you've got to look at different sources. And one of the things that you can do very easily, that you probably are buying a wood burning stove, but to have something that can make such a contribution to the heat that you actually need within your house, as far as I'm concerned, it's a no-brainer. I want to be very straight here. It uses an amount of wood. It's not dissimilar to what it was actually using before, but in terms of how that wood is actually being used, I think it's actually being used in a very efficient way. So, for example, I get through about £600 worth of wood a year. Before, when I was just totally using oil, my oil costs would have been more than £2,000. Using this in conjunction with about a delivery of oil, which is about £500. So I'm running this for about £1,100, where it would have been more than £2,000 before. A saving around £1,000 a year. It makes good sense to me. We're in a situation where our CO2 emissions are far in excess of what they should be. We've got targets which we have to reach. I think it's the responsibility to everyone to actually think in terms of what the fuel is that they're using within their home, and I think the Ecco Stove does my little bit for the society as a whole.